Hello everyone and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out a little browser-based game called Glitch, which actually is very similar to another game we played in the series called Simian Interface, which you may remember essentially involved the player rotating a bunch of little art object slash artifact slash just interesting to look at bits of stuff to try to line them up with a perspective from the viewer that creates a pattern that is, in general, easy to recognize. So this is essentially the same premise as that, only we're doing this now with much more fragmented, minimalistic graphics, and I thought this would serve as a good point of contrast, because from the couple of minutes that I've played of this, I feel like the Simian Interface version actually did a bit of a better job in some respects, at least from what I saw. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to put those against each other and, see where one excelled and the other didn't excel quite as much, although I could also be wrong since I've only played the first couple puzzles. So, here we go, we're going to try out some Glitch. I do want to apologize in advance just in case I end up activating a menu somewhere that ends up getting in the way of the game. Unfortunately, the bounding box surrounding this, and since I'm playing it in a browser, on Congregate in fact, essentially the mouse doesn't lock into that screen, so there's a good chance that I might mouse over something that will then drop into the frame of view. I don't know, we're going to see. I just did it right there, I don't know if you'll see it though. Alright, so here we are in level 1. Basically what I'm going to be doing here is just rotating the sphere around until I find the right orientation that these fragments line up with the wireframe of that sphere. So as we move our mouse left and right, we'll notice the whole mass of fragments seems to be going in a clockwise fashion, or rather, while we move right, it's going counterclockwise, left's moving regular clockwise. If we move up and down, we seem to be rotating on our z-axis, so I'm going to want to keep rotating that in that direction. And the awkward thing here is that I actually have to bounce the mouse cursor against the bottom of the screen and then continue to push down in that direction, which just never really feels good. It may be entirely intentional, or it may also be an accident. I'm not sure, but what I'd prefer is that you just lock the mouse right into the viewpoint of the game and essentially can just control in circles forever without having to see the mouse or anything like that. Alright, so it seems like we've got a readout of directional degrees essentially at the bottom where it says 359, 0, 180. That would probably be our X, Y, and Z axis. And it looks like we've pretty much just lined it up. Maybe we're just a little bit off. I thought I was dead on, though. But that is one of the things that I find a little bit frustrating about, about this version of it. Essentially, the space that you need to line up these objects with is down to, like, the pixel. It will not register until you line it up absolutely perfectly, and I thought right there, that looks pretty perfect to me. We're right on 360, 0, 180. I'm guessing the issue is that I need to go entirely over again in the other direction, and maybe I just had it at the wrong degrees. I think probably what this is registering, yeah, there we go, is just the degrees. It doesn't look for like a close match or anything. It just wants you to be dead on whatever the readings are that you need to succeed. Which, as I mentioned, in this case is a little bit more frustrating than in the other one where there's a little bit of a margin of error. On top of it, there doesn't seem to be any music. The title screen did have a bit of a little droning thing going on, which definitely sets the tone for the game, which is, pretty sparse and somewhat melancholy in that sort of industrial sense. Although this might be post-industrial modernist or something like that. I don't know. Regardless, it does look kind of nice looking at these wireframe shapes, and it's cool to see them deconstructed like that. I do like playing around with the shapes, although only to a certain point. After a while, it seems like, well, we get the idea, let's just solve the puzzle, right? And then at that point is when you'd want to start, nailing the exact right degrees, only you can't always do that. I also have a thing called Object Dock on the left side of my screen, and since my mouse cursor isn't bound into this UI, I seem to be, would have been activating it. I actually turned it off in preparation for the video. So I would think somewhere around here is looking pretty correct, although the game doesn't seem to agree with me. I'm not sure how much more perfectly I can line it up. Maybe let's try it on the other side. If it's maybe a little bit more satisfied, if I go like this. Okay, I think this will probably do it. There we go. Alright, so challenge 3, we're now going to start playing with a spectrum here. So I guess we're going to be lining up red, green, and blue in order to create, well, what would normally come out as white, I guess in this case is going to turn out black. And I've already solved it. That was pretty quick. So challenge 4, didn't really get a chance to play around with that one for too long. So let's look for the closest thing to a solid mass. I'm not sure where... Oh, okay, I guess it's going to come from a vertical orientation. I wasn't sure. Okay, well, we've already solved it. Would be really nice if before it actually moved us on to the next puzzle, maybe we get a moment to actually take a look at what it is we just made the shape of. I would prefer that if it's possible. Also, you know, a little bit of... Oh, okay, I didn't realize we had all of this going on in the foreground. Would also be nice to have like a little bit of a sound effect or something letting you know you solved the level because, well, I guess it does this little drone for a moment. You might not be able to hear it, but it does not do it for very long, and I generally find that I'm not really sure what just happened. All of a sudden I'm on the next level. I guess I'll live, though. Alright, I think that might be... No. Very cool watching those things collide, though. I really do like that. I thought that would be it. Maybe I need to do a vertical flip again, as I did with that other level. It doesn't take too long to pick up on the pattern that you should be looking for, but it, you know, getting that fine-tuning down, I guess, does take a few moments. So maybe that is not the correct pattern. Maybe I need to go from the other side. Not really sure what I'm doing wrong. Oh, okay, well, I just solved it by accident there. Okay, so we're on challenge 7. I'm not sure if I intend to finish this game or not. I may not. We shall see. Flip it around. So there seems to be a stationary element to this level, and then our moving panning element, which looks... There we go. I solved that one already. This one we probably want to capitalize on all 4 of those nodes, and then line that up like so. Alright. Man, now I'm just blasting through the levels. I thought this was actually going to be a lot harder than the other one. It actually turns out it might be easier. But the patterns also are quite a bit prettier. Well, at times anyway. There were some really cool things with color going on in Simian Interface, and those don't seem to be quite as present, but there is a very kind of trippy, difficult to look at thing that happens when you get these lines all very close to each other and they start to be like 1 pixel off in every direction. You know, it's not often you get to play with a shape like this. It's definitely not a commonly occurring thing. So let's flip that back down. I thought I was right on it, but I think it's another one of those cases where I needed to rotate it all the way around again. No, is that still not the case? Alright, I thought I had it again. What about like this? This probably isn't going to do anything. No, it's just a really silly abstract shape. Oh, we've got a whole nother shape going on in this direction. I didn't realize that was the case. How am I going to do this? I guess I need to flip this all the way back around so it's facing forward. And then hopefully that element in the, what was it, the background or foreground? I'm not even sure what direction it was coming from. There it is. Line that up. Although, probably not like this. Alright, I see what's going on here. So in the background, there seems to be a few shapes that we need to take advantage of, which means that there's only one orientation. So we're dealing with X, Y, and Z, but we're also dealing with every possible permutation of X, Y, and Z as it pertains to flipping this thing around in circles. Just in case this is coming through in the recording, I'm not sure if it is, but I accidentally keep mousing over the menu in Congregate, which keeps turning the whole screen gray. I'm trying not to, but it's difficult to avoid since there's a lot of rotation going on here. None of these are the right angle. Clearly we need to do something with these background shapes. I just need to figure out how we line these up in the foreground. And then I guess I just need to turn it in circles until one of these actually makes sense. None of these make any sense. These are so far just completely arbitrary squiggles. So how does this work? So there's only a shape in one direction? I guess these are like one-sided polygons or something. Like if I look from this side, there's nothing, but then if I flip it back around this way, this pops into the foreground. There was a moment where I thought it was very close to having this one, and then it just sort of vanished, although I think I didn't have the foreground shapes also lining up. I think I just had the one. When this comes together, it's probably going to look pretty cool, but I have no idea what the shape is supposed to be. Flipping, flipping, spinning, flipping, spinning. I think I found the trick. I'm just putting my mouse over on the second monitor. Oh, wait, is this something? No, I don't think so. This is getting a little frustrating, I have to say. There's not a whole lot here to give me a hint as to what the correct direction to be moving into is. This might be the last level of this, actually. Entirely possible, which would make sense that it would be probably the hardest challenge. I already tried this, right? This was just facing downward. It looks like a solution, but I think it's just meant to throw you off. Facing this direction doesn't do anything. Facing this direction does... Oh, that looks real nice. That should be the solution right there. But the problem is it's not. And how do I integrate this other plane into it, though? See, right there, it looks perfect. I'd be pretty happy with that design if I was the developer. So how am I supposed to get this? Well, what if I try it this direction? Maybe it only wants to be solved in one side? No. What about this? I don't think I've tried all of these horizontal directions yet. No. It really wants me to think there's something going on in the other direction, but it doesn't seem to lead me to making that very useful. Maybe you can do something diagonally? I certainly wouldn't expect that if that's the case. Not really seeing it. Yeah, I'm just sort of continuing to rotate in the same bunch of directions. It's not really becoming apparent to me. I mean, obviously you should have to get all of the aspects or elements of the design on the screen at the same time, right? I mean, isn't that sort of the point? But it really seems like we're supposed to have it like this. I mean, it's the most clear, not deconstructed looking pattern or texture that I could come up with. Although you can tell there are still some holes in it, and obviously some fragments happening at the bottom. You can also see as you turn some of these shapes around, if you watch the bottom of the pattern, as I keep scrolling back and forth like this, the polygons at the bottom of it all are disappearing over and over again. So there is only one direction this is meant to be viewed in, which means this is sort of a good hint that you probably need to do it in the scope of this like 180 degrees right here. Beyond that, though, I'm not totally sure. So I guess before we enter the realm of being frustrating, we should probably wrap this one up. I should probably leave a puzzle for you guys to solve, in case this just does happen to be the final puzzle. This is my cue to now solve it accidentally as I keep talking. But, you know, so far so good. I think this is a decently cool idea, and I am thankful for the viewer for sending me an email about it. I probably wouldn't have found this on Congregate, and I generally do quite like this pattern recognition style of a game, and I generally do enjoy puzzle games as it pertains to just about anything to do with this idea. So there's nothing wrong with it. Just, you know, maybe could use a little bit more polish. I would like to hear some background sound effects music, maybe a little bit more to the presentation, because right now it's pretty minimal. You know, it doesn't have to be super crazy, over the top, well, like polished or anything, but right now it could just use a little bit more. There's not even really a menu or anything, but, you know, again, it's Congregate. Can't be too upset. Oh, I solved it. I guess this isn't the final puzzle anyway. But regardless, we will bring this episode to a close. I understand it's a fairly short episode, and you probably got a little frustrated watching me spin that pile of fragments around in circles for all that time, but at least we did learn about a new game today, and that is our goal, of course, here on Indie Impressions. Find a new game, talk about it, dissect it a little bit, bring in some game critique elements, some formal terminology at times. Hopefully you get the idea if you've been here for a little while, or if you're a new subscriber, I definitely welcome you to check out the backlog, look through the old playlists of all that's there to see. There's now 420 some odd episodes of this show now, so pretty much something for everybody. I'm probably going to be doing a few horror games coming up real soon. I do want to do a few more of those. I know that tends to go over pretty well, and I enjoy playing them myself. Especially because it seems like an opportunity for me to do something that is sorely lacking on YouTube, which is to play horror games without flipping out. Something that seems far too hard to find. But anyway, I think we will bring this to a close. This was Glitch. I do recommend you check it out. Just, you know, don't go in with too crazy high expectations. Obviously, if you watch this much of it, you'll understand what you're getting yourself into. Love to hear your opinions. What do you think of this one? What do you think of it versus Simian Interface? You know, changes, differences, things you could do to improve it. All of that, let me know in the comments, as always. Aside from that, though, check out my website, indie-impressions.com, if you want to check out more of this series. They are all neatly archived for your perusal. They are tagged, they are sorted by distribution method, by platform, whatever it is you're into. Feel free to hop over there and check out what's going on. I also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/indieimpressions. If you'd like to leave a like over there, it just takes a second, does help me out. You can stay up on what's going on in the channel, news updates, channel stuff, contest, game giveaways, and such. I also have a Twitter handle, which is @RockLeeSmile, so if you want to see what's going on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis, that's the way to do it. Feel free to send me a tweet, whatever you want to talk about, I'm all good with. I also do have an email address. If you want to email me, check out the contact form over on indie-impressions.com. That's probably the quickest way to get in touch with me if you want to check out the possibility of possibly having me show off your game on the show in case you happen to be an indie developer. And if you are, I'd love to hear from you. And in general, if you guys want to support the show, best thing you can do, tell a friend. That is really the best thing overall. The main way people find out about the show is just through word of mouth, so it definitely does make a huge impact. Every person you tell, another potential person checking out all kinds of different indie games. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. I hope to hear more from you guys all. Let me know your comments about this game in particular in the comments below. And hopefully you'll come back again tomorrow because I do a new episode every single day without fail. And I will see you then. So have a lovely night. Talk to you tomorrow.